include weak enforcement, inadequate highway patrols, bribery across enforcement chain, lenient penalties that fail to deter offenders, poor interagency coordination, and gaps in post-crash response. Other major contributors include reckless driving, speeding and drunk driving, poor driver training, widespread unlicensed riding, unroadworthy vehicles, counterfeit spare parts, unsafe road signs, the high vulnerability of pedestrians and motorcyclists. Economic pressures on PSV operators are also contributing to risky behavior. The pilot further exposed critical weaknesses within the justice chain. These include persistent corruption and roadside bribery, delays in investigations and prosecutions, weak evidence management systems, digital gaps, inconsistent fines, absence of traffic-specific sentencing guidelines, limited capacity of the workforce, funding constraints, and weak enforcement of notices to attend courts. Operational challenges were also evident. Virtual courts achieved only 25% success rate due to connectivity and power limitations. Budget constraints affected the rollout of mobile courts. Case processing delays were noted between arrest and registration at the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions. In some instances, agencies continued to operate in silos while public compliance with traffic rules remained low. Ladies and gentlemen, to decisively confront these challenges, the report sets out a comprehensive package of reforms that we must urgently give priority to stem the continued loss of life and injuries in our roads. First, on legal and policy reform, the report proposes that we amend the Traffic Act to respond to emerging risks. Key measures include the introduction of instant fines and a demerit point system for driving licenses, the standardization of driver training and licensing, and the fast-tracking of the National Council of Administration of Justice Bill. I think that's what the Chief Justice was saying, that it's now time that we have the NCAJ with its own statute that would help us coordinate better the actions of the different actors in this space. Second, on digital transformation, the report recommends the establishment of an integrated e-transport and traffic case management system, linking all relevant agencies. It also calls for the scaling up of automated ticketing, expanded deployment of CCTV and speed cameras, and the creation of a secure digital evidence management framework. Third, on police and integrity reforms, the report recommends the deployment of body-worn cameras for traffic officers, strengthened continuous vetting and integrity testing, enhanced anti-bribery mechanisms, and improved welfare, supervision, and working conditions for enforcement officers. Priority actions for non-justice sector agencies include fast-tracking the identification of black spots, particularly along the Northern Corridor and the Mombasa-Nairobi Highway. The report further calls for the adoption of safety by design principles in all new road projects and the expansion of pedestrian walkways, crossings, and dual carriageways. On vehicle and drivers, I note that the reports call for the strengthening of mandatory inspection of vehicles and motorcycles, and the introduction of digital fatigue monitoring systems such as tachographs. It also recommends the requirement of defensive driver certification for PSV operators and the formalization of border operations through SACCO structures. Similarly, on emergency response, it is proposed that we establish additional trauma centers and ambulance response points along major highways, alongside the strengthening of the golden hour response framework to save more lives. The way forward, therefore, is clear. Sustained high-level political leadership is indispensable. Road safety must be pursued through a whole-of-government and a whole-of-society approach. Dedicated financing mechanisms, including the operationalization of the National Road Safety Fund, must now be prioritized. As a country, we have made an important step through coordinated enforcement and traffic codes. However, rising fatalities, systemic corruption risks, infrastructure gaps, and weak digital integration make it clear that road safety reform must now move from pilot phase to full national transformation. And while at it, I listened very carefully to the report that was made by the Chief Justice. And there are 2 or 3 fundamental things that come to my mind. To cut down on all the things that we have said, from weak enforcement, to bribery, to court attendance, to backlog in our courts, I agree with the report and with the Chief Justice that some of these traffic offenses need to be moved to the realm of administrative interventions. Part of the reason why it's easy to pay a bribe rather than go to court is because it takes so long to pay a legitimate fine, and therefore it encourages more people to instead pay the bribe. And therefore, we must make it much more painful to pay the bribe and make it much more easy to pay the legal fine. It is our responsibility. Because if the fine for a traffic offense is 1,000 shillings, and it means you spend a whole day in a courtroom waiting to pay the 1,000, you know, that's how we end up with the challenges that we have. We have read here that not many people even come to court, right? And the IG will tell you he has a long list of people who want to join the traffic department. Not because they are hardworking officers who want to assist us in any manner, but because